Welcome, friends and family, to another episode of the Backdoor Cut Show. Today, we got my trio of partners with me. We got the West Coast Vino, Barnburner Slim, Mr. Mason Massey. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm good. It's been a good weekend of watching basketball. A lot of good basketball, except for, unfortunately, what the show is about, the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
But I'm ready to jump right into it, man.
Awesome. And also in Memphis, we got the chief, the founding father, the head honcho. How you doing?
What's up, bro? Man, I'm just sipping on some wine tonight. I'm doing some Francis Coppola Pinot Noir from 2016.
Okay.
Has some nice notes in there. I don't know of what, but that's a thing that I think people say about wine.
How's the mouth feel?
The mouth feels good, man. I'm feeling
Okay,
good. Tastes good and a little fruity. Has an air of fruitiness to it. So feeling good. Also want to go ahead and give you guys a quick little Reddit thing from NBA Reddit. Malcolm Brogdon missed a free throw. He's now 82 of 84 this season. That brought his free throw percentage down from 98.8%, which is good, to a completely abysmal 97.6%. So he's a bum now.
So hack a Malcolm this week, okay?
Hack a Malcolm. Yeah, that's a strategy. He's going to miss. So
we play the Bucks this week.
Hell yeah. Yeah, hack a Malcolm. Yeah,
oh, dude. We'll get to that this week. Yeah. Woof.
I'm good. Tigers got to win. I'm ready to talk some shop with you boys.
And also coming live at you from Uptown, we got Rich, Big Rich, Slick Rich. How you doing, man?
What's up, man? Doing well, man. Happy to be here and talk some shop with you boys tonight.
All right, let's get into it. We'll do some quick recaps of the games last week. We had mostly lows, a brief high. Week ended pretty rough. Then we'll spend a good amount of time on some mid-season grades. Played 42 games so far this year, so just past the midway point. Posted an article this week on the Barnburner, the-barnburner.com, with individual grades for every Grizzlies player that's currently on the roster up to this point in the season. So you can go check that out. It's been a big topic of discussion in the Barnburner Slack, and we'll hear what everyone else has to say. You know, it's a democracy over here sometimes.
Fool, we ain't got no Slack.
Hey, keep that on the DL, man. I meant group text. That's what I said, wasn't it?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we started off competing with the national championship football game. Memphis, the Grizzlies were in NOLA playing the Pellies, which looked pretty optimistic for a little bit. We were hanging, and then the third quarter came around. Slim, I know you were watching that one. What were your thoughts on what happened there?
Anthony Davis, I mean, he scored 36 and 13. He was a plus 24 in the game. And then some guy named Frank Jackson, who apparently went to Duke, had 17 points and was just lighting it up from three. And, I mean, we just couldn't stop him. We got outscored by 17 in the second half. We trailed by 2 at halftime. I think they outscored us 61-44 in the second half. So just more of the same, and we were actually turning the ball over a lot, which led to some easy transition buckets for them. And you just can't do that against bad teams like the Pelicans, especially in a game that we needed to win.
Yeah, I feel like that's just kind of like the tale of the season so far. Is that third quarter helping us fall apart? Any other thoughts from you guys? Rich, you catch that one, or Chief?
Yeah, man. Once the third quarter kind of hit, I'm not gonna lie, I started watching the national championship game.
Oh.
So I got my Alabama Clemson on. So, third quarter. Frank Jackson, he went to Duke. He was a one and done, one of those Duke point guards that kind of just enters their name into the draft and then kind of just gets drafted based on the fact that they went to Duke. So you got Frank Jackson, Trayvon Duval, etc. But when I watched the first half, we were looking solid. I think Mike ended up with 22 points or what have you. And then they kind of got that dog in the background, it just hit the fan. It happened. And, I was like, okay, I'm going to go watch some college football now.
Makes sense. And that's what a lot of people were advising others to do on Twitter. So if you missed the end of that one.
Hey, Ari got something to say, man.
That's what it was. The whole week was pretty much that. All right, so that one sucked. And then Wednesday, Spurs came to town in what was a weird game. Chief, I know You were there courtside for that one. Not quite courtside. You could see the
No.
court really well, though.
Yeah, we could
So
definitely
we'll
see the
count
court.
that.
And we were technically on the side of the court. So,
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
Yeah.
What's your overview, kind of high level thoughts on that one?
I think you could sum this game up with one question, which is, did we win that game or did the Spurs suck so bad they lost it? And I don't know the answer to that question, really. I think that we scored our average like 96 or whatever, which is, you know, par for the course for us. So we didn't have like a good scoring night. Weren't even particularly efficient, but the Spurs had like an abysmal like 87 or something like that. And it didn't seem like they ever got in their rhythm. And what I don't know whether it was our defense or they just were missing shots. To me, it would seem like the latter, but I think that they were due for a stinker in the NBA. You know, they'd won like 8 of their last 10.
Yeah.
We know that happens sometimes. You're on the road, like you just have a stinker of a game. And it seemed like one of those where that was the case for the Spurs. Even Patty Mills couldn't get hot in the grindhouse, and that's like his fucking zone. So, yeah.
Yeah, he loves to come in and just terrorize us in our own home. That's not nice.
Yeah, I mean, the Spurs, they only had 31 points in the entire first half. So even with great defense, that's hard to do unless you're just sucking it up. LaMarcus, he only had 13, and then DeRozan only had 9. So, I mean, it was a big night for Marc Gasol, and the team had the energy, the litness, as Jaren Jackson said. The litness transcended through the team. So, you know, I can't lie. I bought into the hype that night. I was like, okay, maybe we're turning. But then I watched the game the next day, and I was like, man, the Spurs really sucked.
Yeah, I think they were definitely looking ahead to the nationally televised classic, their Thursday night game. Who they play? OKC.
OKC.
You can see how the Spurs look when they do hit their shots because they normally do. They went like crazy, like started like 15 to 15 from 3 or something like that. But to your point, Chief, like I think it was more the latter. I think the Spurs just lost that one. I think it was just a stinker for them. Mark came out pretty aggressive for the most part, like as aggressive as Mark can be. And I think he ended up with like 26 or what have you. And of course, like the bench, it seemed like they were getting pretty hype. They were pretty excited and lit on the bench, like Jaren said. And like I've already seen, like we take quotes here in Memphis and like run with it. Like I've seen T-shirts on Twitter, but they already have like the litness has transcended. And, you know, that's cool. It's cool. But then we lost like the rest of the week. So it's kind of
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy that shirt because that shit didn't transcend.
Right. Temporarily transcended.
Yeah.
Yeah, we needed to transcend on a little bit more consistent basis, I think. That of interesting things of note, that game, JaMychal Green logged 27 minutes. He had a double-double, 12 and 11. And then Bickerstaff went with Mac off the bench. And Javon Carter didn't see the court that game, but so Bickerstaff went back to Mac being the backup point guard, and he actually had a solid game. He had 10 points, 7 assists. You know, that's how he started the season, and then just kind of died off. And I think he sat out 2 games before that, and Carter kind of got some run, but I'm guessing Bickerstaff wasn't super impressed with Carter, and it's not like we won with Carter playing. I know that's kind of everyone really wanted to see Carter, but we didn't really win the games that he got a lot of minutes in.
Yeah, and Shelvin was a plus 12 in that game. He was a team high against the Spurs, so hard to argue with JB there. But I think JB just needed a win, so he's going back to the veteran guys because I think JaMychal played the whole fourth quarter that game, and Jaren set the entire fourth quarter. Even though Jaren had been playing well, I think JB just kind of felt the opportunity to snag a win, and so he went with the guys he was most comfortable with. In an ideal world, Javon would be playing and, you know, we'd be winning games. But right now, with the coach's back against the wall, it's kind of hard to argue him going back to Shelvin. But I think we will see them used together now with the more injuries that are piling up and Javon's defensive ability, which we kind of did in Miami for a little bit. So
it was good to see Javon. Like he led the bench mob, really. Like when Jaren was, because he didn't play at all, but he was first off the bench, and he was a huge part of the energy of those young guys. We have this kind of weird dichotomy in the team. We have these old guys, the vets of like Mike and Mark, and then we have very few guys in the middle, age-wise, and then a bunch of young guys. So the young guys are definitely quick off the bench, and Noah's usually a part of that. But Javon, you know, he's a good teammate regardless of whether he's playing. So it's good to have that guy on your team.
Yeah, speaking of like Noah being first off the bench, did you guys see like the video that like Bleacher Report was circulating?
Man,
About,
Bleacher
like,
Report hacks. They're hacks of the week, man. What? Yeah, like
what was that, man?
nothing is what it was. But Bleacher Report wanted to make it into something.
Right.
No, it was John Martin. He was the one who put
he
it out
tweeted
there.
it with like the little like
right.
monocle emoji, like
Yeah, John Martin doesn't even know what that means. Probably he just like, oh, I think the kids use this emoji, and then he tweeted it.
Ooh, look.
So, guess next week, John.
Yeah, come on, dude.
Hey, he's doing his thing though. He's doing his damn thing. Most popular
definitely.
radio show. So then we went to Miami. The Grizzlies traveled to Miami, and we started hot, 19-7, and then we had a couple of big runs there in the first half where we pushed the lead up, and then Miami got back into it. So we went to halftime down 63-61, and then it was just kind of like back and forth. Did you, bro? I know you caught the second half. What did you think the difference was in the second half from in the first half when we got started off so hot?
A lot of it had to do with defense. You know, I think that for us, that's the thing that gets us going, and just having that level of intensity. And I didn't really see it as much in the third and fourth quarters that we need, because we can play like even against Spurs, 31 points in the first half, but then they get 60 in the second half. So that puts them, that's like on pace to what we can't give up. And I feel like we're falling apart. And then in the later end of the game, and then when Anderson kind of tweaked his, foot or ankle, whichever one of that is, that was kind of a big blow, because we really looked to him to, kind of have a cool head at that point in the game and play solid defense. And he's always got that tough defensive matchup anyway. So losing him is pretty tough for us.
Yeah, and down the stretch, we were going with Jaren at the 3. So Jaren, J. Mike, and Gasol all in the game at the same time, which it wasn't awful. I mean, Jaren can create just as good as anyone else without Kyle out there, him and Mike. So it was just kind of – Rich, you got anything before we get into the end of the game? Did you watch it?
Yeah, I did catch the tail end, and I saw that instance where Jaren was, running the 3 a little bit, and I mean, I thought it was pretty cool. But I think similar to what Bro was speaking about, like when Kyle went down with that ankle tweak, it just kind of changes a lot of things for the scheme and the game plan. I think because Kyle is starting to really find his groove on the team, and at that point in time, like from what I saw, like you said, Slim, Jaren, and Mike are more than capable of creating their own offense. But other than that, like it was just stagnant.
Yeah, exactly. Same old. And then Mark got an opportunity to, I believe we were down 2. The shot would have put us up 1 from deep with 32 seconds left, and it was wide left. I mean, it was an air ball. It wasn't even close. Maybe he was tired, the 2 days off beforehand. Maybe they didn't serve him well. I don't know. And then we actually get the ball back with a chance to tie it with, I believe, 9 seconds left. And we take the ball out, and you can see that the play is designed to go to Mark, but instead we have to throw it in to Shelvin Mack because Mark is covered. Usually plays have more than one option, but apparently this one didn't. And it went to Shelvin Mack, and you just saw him put on like his Bel Air Academy jersey and turn into Carlton Bank. And like he like in slow motion drives at D Wade, and everybody in the free world is like, "What the fuck are you doing?" and D Wade forces a jump ball, which I mean it was just a clusterfuck. And then D Wade and Shelvin jump ball, and naturally D Wade wins it, tips it to Josh Richardson, who gets fouls and knocks down the free throws, and ball game's over.
Low key, great comparison there.
That was an excellent comparison.
Shelvin Mack to Carlton, but that's like a reverse Fizz comp. That's like, I'm still here, totally here for it. So yeah,
and it's like, why is the play to get Mark the ball, and then there's not another option other than just give it to Shelvin? Like, even if it comes into Shelvin, he should have the wherewithal to get the ball to Mike or get the ball to anybody but him, basically.
You cannot be the guy taking that shot.
Right.
Come on.
And like there's 9 or 6 seconds, whatever, so it's not an immediate need. But it's just, I don't know. The play calling, JB is no Dave Yeager out of timeouts. I will say that. It's just like the plays need to have layers, and if Marc Gasol is covered, let's not act like Marc Gasol is the quickest man who can just get open. Like, if a team doesn't want him to get open, he's probably not going to get open. Like, it's not that difficult. And it's just a tough way to lose a game that I felt we should have won. And you always know Miami's going to go on runs at home. That's just what they do. And then with the team that they have now, once you let them get going downhill, going at the rim, Justice Winslow got to the rim, then he was hitting pull-ups. I mean, he looked great. I know he's in your bum category, Chief, but he looked like somebody we should have traded for last night. That's not an endorsement, but just another tough loss. Like, you try to put 2 wins together. You go to Miami, who's like 21-20 now, not a good team, just somebody you should beat. No Whiteside, no Dragic. And you can argue whether Whiteside's good for that team or not, but still, just a win that the Grizzlies needed and they could have had, but just they can't close games anymore. They can't close.
I want to clarify too. Justice Winslow not in my bum category. Stanley Johnson. Stanley Johnson's in my bum category. I think that might be you're thinking of.
No, I think this summer Justice was.
No, I don't think I don't think so. I don't
check
think so.
the receipts.
Yeah, go back. Go to
the archives.
Bring it back. Yeah, but Stanley Johnson definitely is. Kind of looks like Justice Winslow, but
yeah, same hairstyle.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm aware of who Stanley Johnson.
Pistons best player, dude.
Nah, that's Luke Kennard, bro.
Oh, my bad.
No.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Hand up. That's on me. You're right.
Oh, speaking of the Pistons, how about Blake Griffin not shaking Ballmer's hand last night?
I like
He's
that.
talking about some like, y'all know I've done this for the past 9 years. Like, no, bro. Like, you saw him coming to you, trying to greet you. You took the fuck off.
Yeah. Like,
Ballmer just looked like, oh shit, damn. Like, you're not a Clipper for life, motherfucker.
All right, well, we'll roll into, before we get to the midseason grades, let's go with our Blue Note Ballers of the week. So I'll start off this week. I have JaMychal Green as my baller, mostly for his performance against San Antonio, the lone win. He came out, he actually played really solid defense in that game, which may or may not show up in the numbers, but he was very active. He even was switched on to DeRozan a couple times. He did a good job helping contain him. For the week, he had 17.3 points and 9 rebounds. Hit a couple threes. So he had a pretty solid week for old J Mike, who is a very not appreciated person on Grizz Twitter and Facebook.
He's super appreciated by JB though.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't. No one can deny that. He's appreciated by JB and me, and then Rab, of course, right behind him.
Hey, I mean, J Mike earned it this week. He, like you said, 17-9, shot 50% from deep. It's an easy call for the baller of the week.
All right, Chief, who you got?
Yeah, I mean, you sent around this week of stats here, which I appreciate because I hadn't thought about this. So I am going to do the typical blog boy thing and pick the guy with the best plus minus, which was Shelvin Mack. He had kind of a bounce back week, 11 points, was efficient, and kind of had the harkening back to that first stint he had where we were like, oh, maybe he's the best backup point guard we ever had. And then he definitely was not the best backup point guard we ever had. I mean, it would be crazy to think that he would continue to be that terrible for an entire season, but it sure as hell seemed like that, man. He seemed to just go to shit real quick and didn't look to be coming back. But so he had a little bounce back week. Good to see that from our boy Shelvin taking out the Carlton Bank shot.
Hey, Rich, you got any more popular Grizzlies lined up for this award, or?
Man, I actually was gonna go with our resident middle child too. I was gonna go with JaMychal Green. Man, I think that San Antonio game, you have a dude who's consistently brought up in trade rumors, brought up as a chip, brought up as a bargaining piece, and he just comes in he keeps his head low, man, and he just comes to work. He does his job. He has shortcomings, but I mean he comes to play. like that San Antonio game, like saw him offensively and defensively active. And of course, we took the L in Miami, but I think he went down there and had like 24. He was just aggressive. So I think like for me, my ball of the week is definitely J. Michael. I also saw him like he was in the community, like he had time to do like a community appearance. He was like handing out like turkeys and backpacks or something somewhere. And so that's like always super cool to see as well, like the Grizz getting involved in the community. So Blue Note ball of the week definitely goes to J. Michael Green, man.
All right, Jamichael, you heard it here. We appreciated you this week. Now take advantage of those 30 minutes that you're gonna get going forward.
Yeah. Don't squander those 36 in one place, man. Yeah.
Honorable mention to Caspi. Caspi ain't been bad.
Yeah.
When he's not starting fights, he's playing well on the court. That's cool. I can handle that. All right, rolling into the grades. So most of these I did on my own volition. You know, I didn't really ask too much feedback. So
Can we just go ahead and just ISO Slim right now in the post and let's just like go in on the Justin Holiday conversation right now? I want to give you as much time as you need right now, and let's go. So, bro gave him a C. Your boy Justin. What do you got?
Well, first of all, I think it should be an incomplete because he's only been with the team like 2 or 3 games when this was published, and then. I can agree with that he hasn't performed, but all you can look at is when we traded for him, you look at the trade article we put up. He's best in the league in corner threes, or second best. He's 10th best in catch and shoot coming off the screens. And I haven't seen him attempt a corner 3 or come off a screen. So, of course, if we continue to not use players to their strengths, we're going to continue to get ass production out of him. So yeah, I mean, he deserves a C or whatever. He hasn't been great since he's been here, but the team is not putting him in any position to succeed, and it's just a continuing trend. So that's my piece on Justin Holiday.
Yeah, I feel like I said this when we first traded for him, how guys come here and they're good shooters, but we don't use them in the way that they're good shooters, and so therefore they look like not good shooters anymore. And it's not them, it's us. So I don't know where he's taking his shots. I haven't seen a lot of the games he's played in, but if that's the case, then we got to get him more corner threes for sure. So,
yeah, I mean he's shooting a lot of pull up shots and like he's a catch and shoot shooter. It's just like that's not how he works. So we just not play into his strengths. So he's going to continue to underperform.
Yeah. Okay, bro. Sorry. Go ahead, bro.
No, I was just going to say somehow Kyle Anderson still ended up in the 3 to do his little pump fake. Instead of Holiday being over there.
Fuck that. That doesn't make any sense.
That hurts me every time.
Hey, Kyle can shoot that hoe from the corner, man. He need to just let it fly.
Yeah, he doesn't though. It's the problem. Do it.
His arms get like halfway to the lane. I'm like, bro, just put it in, man.
It's like a layup, essentially. I will say, so we sit near this girl that hates Kyle Anderson. At most games, he does anything, and she's just immediately on his ass. He hit triple-double game. She was just tearing him apart for everything that he did. And I was like, I wanted to lean over and say, Kyle's playing really well. Give him a break, please. He's doing what he's supposed to do.
So
I just feel bad for him.
Well, she's like a single. I think she's a solo season ticket holder. She just bought a seat, so she's by herself. And every time he does anything, she goes, Kyle. and then she has this thing where if he does anything, she's like, he shoots slow, he rebounds slow, he runs slow. And then I'm always slow. He fucks slow. Yeah. I'm always waiting for her to just like take it to a graphic area, but she never does. But yeah, that's
but she gets a lot of laughs from our area, so I'm sure she's not stopping anytime soon.
No, she gets a lot of validation from the guy right next to her. Yeah.
APB, don't laugh at those kind of jokes, people. Thank you. All right, back to the top. We got the Justin Holiday. Anyone else have any piece to say on that?
Can't give the man a grade. Come on, that's incomplete at best.
I didn't want to take the cop out. I felt like I had to do something. I didn't give any plus or minuses, and I just gave solid letter grades.
Did you grade JP?
Bro, you gave
no, I didn't.
Justin Holiday and Joakim Noah the same grade. I don't know if that's worse for like Joakim Noah or if that's like
yes, worse for Joakim Noah, I think.
Holiday shooting like 0%. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Marc Gasol. This will also be, y'all might have some take. I looked at it, as 2 parts of the season, and with the quarter season grades, he was playing amazing. Defensive Player of the Year, going to be MVP. Grizzlies were first place. Since then, like right before Thanksgiving, at Thanksgiving, whatever it was, playing like dog crap. So I just took the average of that, gave him a B. What do you guys think about that?
I think the average of an A and an F is a C, bro. Remember math? Because I do.
Oh, yeah, remember.
And that's what I've got to say about that.
Yeah,
Well,
I just want to say you're a very generous person. Like, you're very kind-hearted.
Also, I looked at it as this whole season, like as a cumulative, or the whole half, I guess. And he's not that far off from his career numbers. So technically, he is about getting what we should expect him to get for the season.
C-.
C minus. Yeah, it's deeper than numbers, bro. It's deeper than numbers.
just doesn't acknowledge anything. Comes in hot.
What if I give Holiday incomplete? Will there be some mercy around here somewhere?
Nah, I mean, Marc Gasol, come on, you got to be better. Just you're supposed to be the leader of this team, if not the second leader, and you've let us down. Like bro, the playoffs are fading away quickly, brother. I mean, every game they're getting further and further away because you don't want to shoot. Now I know I need to shoot more. Like, bro, what the fuck was different on this Wednesday night against the Spurs than like every other game? Like, you always need to shoot more. Like, this is nothing new because you scored 26. Like, come on, that's light work. Like, LaMarcus went out the next night and put up 56. Like, you put up 56, then you start saying, yeah, I just need to shoot more. I need to shoot more. Like, you had one good game. Maybe you don't need to shoot more. Trash.
I don't have anything else to say about. Hey, One guy I did give an F to, Chandler Parsons. Someone's gonna disagree with that, I'm sure. Let me guess. He's played the same amount of games Justin Holiday. So how you not give him a C?
Nah, dude deserve an F.
That's an F, bro.
An F for fuck out of here, man.
That's it. Just the fuck out. Stay on the West Coast, stay in LA, bro. You should have attacked like the Players Tribune article as like a piece, a clip here, and then added an attachment of the Fizz, like Chandler picture on the rooftop. Like, that would have been amazing. Like, get out of here, bro. It's a wrap. Peace. I just got really frustrated with Chandler. Sorry.
Yeah. I would try and trigger you guys. But,
man, go ahead and leak something. Shit.
Right. There's a mole in the locker room anyway.
All right. G-Temp. B. He's about doing what this is my, pleading my case for my dissertation on this. A B because he's also doing like pretty much what you should expect of him. Which is he shouldn't be a starter on like a team that wants to get in the playoffs. At the beginning of the season, he was playing awesome, but obviously he has come back down to earth, and he could maybe be like second guy off the bench on a good team, but the fact that we have to start him is not great. And so I think for what he is, he's doing what we should be expecting of him.
What's his numbers?
Temple, right now, he's at 9.9 points, 3 rebounds, shooting 35.5% from 3.
Yeah, I saw some tweet that said, like, Garrett Temple is the best at making 35% from 3, like, seem like 28%.
That's true.
And that really resonated with me because, it does feel that way. Feels like he misses every shot he takes.
Every shot.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you, bro. Like,
I don't think you're allowed.
Addition by subtraction. Like, I don't fully agree with you. So I agree with the aspect of I'd much rather have Garrett on the roster than Deontay and Ben. So he was already a win for being a part of that transaction. But at this point in time, like, I swear, every single 3 he takes, like, that shit just doesn't go in. Like, he's got to consistently knock down that corner 3. He's got to be that catch and shoot. Like when Mark or Mike just kicks it out, like, he has to be able to hit that shot, and he just doesn't. Like, he's a starting NBA 2 guard. Granted, I know he's not really a starting NBA 2 guard, but for the Memphis Grizzlies, he's a starting NBA 2 guard. Mm-hmm. And I think we're asking. I don't know if it's fair. Like, I don't know if we're asking him to be something he's not. But like, this dude just, like Chief said, like he's not hitting shit, man. He's not hitting anything.
I want to see Holiday get those minutes. I mean,
I think it's time for that. Yeah,
because it would seem to be that Holiday would do the things that we want Garrett Temple to do, and that's what he's always done. And so why not? You know, I mean, let's test drive it.
Yeah, Temple's playing way more than he has in like the past, like the average of the past 3 seasons. He's playing like, which were some of the more impactful seasons that he's played. He's playing like 7 more minutes per game for us this year, which is at 32 years old, probably a little much. That's kind of, I feel like you want to be scaling back on some of those guys.
Yeah. And well, the injury to Kyle will make things a little tougher for the next 2 to 4 weeks, which is how long the team said it'll be before they kind of reevaluate or whatever. So we'll probably see. I would assume Holiday will start alongside Temple, but who the hell knows? We could go Jaren and Jermichael, but then you lose a big off the bench, so maybe Caspi. But I would assume Holiday. But yeah, B's not bad for him. I'd probably go B- on the lower side of a B, but you didn't do the plus minus for whatever reason. Feeling lazy, I guess.
You don't. Some of those teachers, you don't like a plus minus. I mean, okay, I take that back. You totally love plus minus if you're in school, except when you get a minus, then it sucks. But
yeah, and I mean,
you're feeling good.
Garrett Temple has kind of sucked, so I'm gonna give him that minus.
Yeah, he's classic minus guy.
All right. Well, I'm not here to please Garrett Temple. I don't care if he got an 89. That's a B.
Man, you out here doing No Child Left Behind.
All right. So the conductor, Mike Conley, an A. I think that he's clearly the most consistent guy that we have. He's the only guy we look to in the fourth quarter. His usage rate is top 10 in the league among players who have played 30 games or more when he gets into the fourth quarter. And like everyone on that list, it's guys like Harden, Giannis. It's all perennial all-stars that are on that list. So I feel like Mike is doing, man, about all that he can to help this team out at this point. What do you think, Rich?
I think I would go A-. I'd go A-. I think I'd go A-. I think I agree with you, bro. Like, he has, been pulling his weight, if you will. Like, he's been doing his part. He's been like leaving it all out there on the floor, offensively, defensively. But I think where my tail end of my grading comes in is just that additional like leadership aspect. I know Mike is one of those, more so lead by example type of guys, but I just want to see, some more additional fire, getting in their ass, man, like, and just, really like firing it up because like, I love Mike. I want Mike to be an all-star this year. I don't know how realistic that is at this point in time. We definitely need to go on a winning streak, towards the voting time frame. But, I think I would go with a solid A-. I think Mike has done what can all be asked of him, but I still think there's even another gear he can take it to.
Okay, that's definitely fair. Factoring the intangibles in there. And this week, I think probably Friday, Chris Harrington of the Daily Memphian covered. He kind of talked about Mike and the competition that he's got to get into that All-Star game with the way that kind of the West is trending right now. So pretty good, really good piece there, breaking down who his biggest competition is for that. At the beginning of the year, I thought for sure Mike was gonna make it in, but the Grizzlies are not doing well. I'm not so sure about that.
Chief, not looking good.
Chief, thoughts on Mike Conley II?
As Frank Sinatra said, the best revenge is massive success. And John Rothstein also said that, the college basketball guy. He just steals quotes like Michael Scott. I think it's really hilarious. And this quote is not exactly applicable. I just happen to find it on Twitter right now. But I think that if Mike causes a winning streak for the Grizzlies, he makes it. And if he continues to let him slip, then he doesn't. It's pretty much as simple as that. But he's played about as well as he can for the most part. He'll never be like a super vocal leader. He never really has been. I think he's just kind of more of a lead by example, if anything, guy, and a great teammate, but maybe not what you would want in this scenario when we have a team that's sort of spiraling. You want a guy that's vocal And he might be. I mean, I don't know. I'm not in that locker room, but he seems like on the quieter side, I guess, from the outside looking in. But yeah, we'll see, man. I don't know. Well, right now we got fools voting Luka in, as a fucking starter. We got like a sweatshop in Eastern Europe of a bunch of people on computers, which I assume are tweeting out all-star votes like 24/7. And I mean, I don't know. The system's broken, maybe, but the coaches respect Mike. But the way the West is, it's just respect. I don't know if it gets you there.
Slim, you want to close us out with the Mike Conley discussion? I know I'd cut you off like 3 or 4 times, so I know you got something.
I had to move. No, I don't have too much. I had to move rooms and stuff, so I was trying to get my part out of the way. But as far as All-Star goes, I think y'all are spot on. It's going to be tough if we stay second bottom at the West. Like you can't give someone an All-Star spot if your team is that bad. So we're definitely going to need to win some games, and he's going to need to put up some 30 pieces and just play well when he gets the opportunity to go head to head with big time guys and make that impression on the coaches, because he was never going to be a starter's or chosen by the fans or anything like that anyway. So it'll all come down to the coaches. And as far as how he's done this season, I think A is, about that's just about right. Like he's had a solid season, could have been a little better, but the biggest thing for me is he's been healthy. He only missed 1 game. So I'll give him an A for that all day.
Okay. I please the masses. Good. All right, next we got Dylan Brooks, no longer with us this season. So I gave him
too soon, man.
He maybe should have got an I too. I don't know that. I gave him a B mostly because he was trending up. Had a couple really good shooting performances, really good defense, basically doing all the things that he needed to do for us to be a good team. And he never really got ramped up. I feel like he was trending up, and then a couple injuries took him out. So he's going to be likely out the rest of the season, according to the team. So hopefully, we wish Dylan a speedy recovery. Any thoughts, starting with you, Chief, on Brooks and a B for his short time this season?
I mean, I think that's fine. Wishing speedy recovery to our boy Dilly Buckets as well. And it's a tough sophomore season for a guy that was looking to emulate what he'd done in year 1 and play a bigger part on a good team. So we are wishing your toe well, my friend. Godspeed.
Sorry, that was me pouring my Boda brick. That thing pours pretty fast. That's impressive.
Thought you was taking a piss.
Got a nice little finger.
We're going to switch rooms too.
Okay. All right, next. Okay, this one, I'm a Rab stan. I gave him a C.
Hey, whoa. I want to talk about Dylan Brooks.
Okay, what you got on Dylan, Slim?
Yeah, I think it's mentally he's got to stay strong and just stay focused, because once those injuries pile up for a young player, I know he's a little bit older, but he's still young and just getting his feet wet in the league. So he's just got to stay focused mentally, because it's easy to get lost off track. But as long as he does that, and I have no reason to believe that he wouldn't, I think he'll be back and he'll continue to play a big role on this team moving forward. But I was talking to my old lady who deals with feet injuries all the time, and she said that a ruptured ligament in the foot, 1, is very hard to do, and 2, she didn't think it would require him to be out the entire season. So I guess depending on which ligament it is, which there's a couple different ones in the foot, but apparently it's pretty hard to tear a ligament, but I don't know. It's just kind of another example of the Grizzlies putting out kind of very little information, and who the hell really knows what's going on. Because the way this one came out was really weird. Chris Harrington, like early one morning, he was like, don't be surprised if there's more bad news coming on the Dylan front. And then the news leak, Shams leaked it, and that's when JB was like, who asked that? When he was approached by after shoot around, but I think it was Omari from The Athletic who asked him, and JB was like, who asked that? Or who said that? And I'm like, oh my God, just another time when the Grizzlies just look like minor league, like Bush league as hell, in terms of dealing with the media, controlling your own news and narratives. It's like it's funny, but it's sad. It's like, what the hell is really going on?
Yeah, I don't know if any of y'all follow that the Grizzlies like PR Twitter account, but it's like the most vague, like
it's
bland,
always
like copy and paste it as notifications. It's always 2 to 4 weeks. We'll revisit, we'll reevaluate, and then they just like get it over with. Like it's not helpful at all.
Here's our official response. Meet Mark, 2 to 4 weeks.
Speaking of that account, shout out Ross Wooden, man. We appreciate you never responding to that email before the season started, man. We appreciate that. That was nice of you.
All right, moving on to Ivan Rabb. Gave him a C just because, you know, he's done okay, but nothing impressive when he has been in there. I don't think it's all necessarily his fault. I think if you give him a couple games in a row to run, then you'll see some production out of him. But that's kind of pretty close to an incomplete as well.
I just want to say this, if anything, gives you a little iota of credibility here.
Yeah, right.
C, because I understand you as a stan, you have to be irrationally confident in this guy. The C is, you know, if anything, very average. So just want to say, nice way to establish some fake credibility here and get that mark grade seeming a little bit better than it really is.
You're welcome. Make it seem like I actually pay like a little bit of attention.
You're trying to play chess and not checkers, but
I'm all in y'all's heads.
Yeah. But you're not Alonzo, bro.
Any thoughts on Ivan Rabb? No, probably not. All right.
Nope.
Oh, we got some good ones coming up. All right, next, Jamichael B. I think he's been best big for B, big off the bench. He's done.
that was really nice. that was really nice.
Oh man.
And he's done like as much or more than he should with the minutes that he's been given. So B for that. Slim, what you got on what's your rebuttal?
I think J Mike has been good to the eye, but I just can't understand why he's always negative as fuck. Like in the plus minus, like he's out there rebounding. A lot of times he's the only person who can score with that unit, like keeping us afloat. So I think he's been really good, and I can't put my finger on what it is defensively, if it's just him having to guard, he can't guard guys on the perimeter, or if it's him having to cover for Mark on the pick and roll once Mark's guy gets by him up top and then gets right into the lane. I don't know. But I, as an observer, have been pleased with Jamichael, so I'm cool with the B.
Yeah, that's good. I think the minus is really comes to defensively. I think he can't really guard perimeter guys sufficiently, and also he's not a rim protector. So I don't really know like what his strength is defensively. You know, undersized 4, like hustle and hope you have a good matchup that night.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's usually where those metrics get real skewed, because offensively, and he does rebound and he hits open threes. Like if he gets time to get his feet set, bro pointed out that you can almost know when he's going to make a shot, when he's going to miss it by his, like when he literally his release. Like if he takes his time and gets his release right, then he almost always makes it. It seems like so. Yeah, I'm cool with the B.
You know, something I just sorry, Rich. I gotta speak my piece on this one.
Do your thing, man.
With Jamichael, the plus minus doesn't always make sense. So in a grading system overall, does the plus minus always make sense? Back to you, Rich.
Wow, you're so profound, man.
That's a fortune cookie shit, bro.
Yes, it makes sense.
Yeah. You're so fucking deep.
There's 5 rings.
Yeah, man. I think I'm cool with the B. I think like Jamichael having a return from like the broken jaw, like and kind of like reintegrate back into the roster. I think everybody touched on everything. Like, you know, we know what he's capable of offensively. We know there are some defensive shortcomings, but I mean, I think he's somebody you can count on to come to play each and every night. So I'm cool with the B.
Yeah, if he had been the starting power forward, I wouldn't give him a B. So, but he's like the only guy who comes to fight almost every night. And, you know, unfortunately, I always rag on him for his ticks, but he does bring that fire and we need it. So shout out to J Mike, man. Hopefully he stays with us moving forward.
Yep. I think we lost Slim.
No, he's still here.
Oh, all right. Moving to our favorite son, Jaren Jackson Jr. got an A from me. Got some pushback on Twitter about that. I'm curious as to what you guys think. Rich, thoughts on Triple J getting an A?
Oh, there you go again, man. Such wordplay. Damn. I see you, man.
Baby.
You're in your bag tonight, bro.
Rich pouring up some more Yellowtail while he's at it.
Oh, yeah.
Get going. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah, I mean, I fucking love Jaren. You know,
Same TBH.
So, yeah, I think you touched on it a lot, bro. Like, if he can like maintain like to actually stay on the court, and I know part of it is part of not receiving the minutes and having the short leash from JB, but also like he just has some fouls that it's like, you know, early on I'm like, okay, he's a rookie, I get it, but like some of this shit, like some of these fouls he's getting, man, like he has to realize, I think first personally, how important he is to this team. And once he realizes that, I think he won't gamble and just get some of these like silly fouls as much as he does. But other than that, man, as someone who personally this time last year was against the drafting of Jaren Jackson Jr., I stand corrected. He has won me over. He has a fan. And I look forward to him becoming, you know, one of the cornerstones of our franchise.
Chief, pass the ball to you.
I'm going to dish it to Slim in the corner. Justin Holiday, go.
Uh-oh.
I mean, Jaren Jackson has been great. He's been everything we could ask for. He's just got to stop fouling. So because of the fouls, I'd probably give him like a B+. Just like you hit on, Rich, like at some point, it's like, all right, dude, stop. Like, stop getting in early foul trouble, man. We really need you on the court. And, you know, you can talk about how the coaching staff doesn't use them right, which I don't think they do to get the most out of him right now, whether that's by design or just stubborn.
How would you use him? Like, what would you alter?
Give him the fucking ball. Like, every time down, I'd give him the ball. Like he can take people off the dribble. He's our biggest matchup problem. And I would just start treating him like he's at least the number 2 option behind Mike Conley. And like I've said on, you know, the last 2 or 3 podcasts, I think it would just open up more for everyone and make this team better. We start to see shooters getting open looks and start to knock them down like they were early on in the season. Justin Holiday could spot up. Garrett Temple could spot up what they're best at. So, you know, we'll see. But it doesn't look like the coaching staff is going to change too much of what they're doing, especially based off the JB's comments to Omari Sankofa in the Athletic article today about how he's coaching him hard and, you know, he's got to keep a tight leash on him basically and make sure he knows why he's getting yanked for mistakes. And so I kind of took it as, yeah, if the kid stops fouling and stays on the court, I'll play him. Like, we're gonna try to do that, but just hopefully when he's getting those minutes, we're giving him the ball.
Yeah, I mean he's still statistically tracking to be better than Kevin Garnett and Chris Bosh. His stats are better, and he could shoot threes, which neither of those guys could do. Which is definitely that's definitely what we want out of him, is to be that, you know, that all-star and perennial team cornerstone moving forward. I don't know. A lot of his fouls are him being dumb, but also he gets rooked a lot. I don't really know why. Like, I don't know why more than I haven't watched a lot of like the other rookies this season, to be honest with you, but I feel like Luka's already getting the travel Harden, you know, step back 3. Like,
I see a
like
highlight,
you know,
every time he hits a jumper.
You know, how many times is like, you know, how many rookies get that call to travel? I don't know. Like, and we always talk about it. The reason that he gets such calls because there's Memphis across his chest, and there's just something about the Grizzlies getting worse calls, the worst whistle in the league, maybe something that we want to figure out at some point. But yeah, I mean, everyone said it, and I think that's a reasonable. I would probably give him an A- because of the fouls, because some of it is him. He can do a little bit better, not baiting the refs to make those calls. He doesn't defend with both hands up. Like he moves like he should, but he always has one arm down and one arm up. And with the one arm down, he has it on the defender's body, and that's just fucking cake for the refs to call. Yeah, exactly. And that's just him being a rookie, and you know, the vets are going to say, hey, they're going to call us every time. Here's how you defend without getting that call, and the little tricks of the trade, I guess, he'll pick up. But I mean, you know, it is kind of nice to see that Cat is having the same trouble like year 4 or whatever. I mean, he's tied in fouls. You know, probably the same kind of shit. Like, Cat's not as good a defender as Jaren naturally, but you know, it can happen to anyone, and big men are particularly susceptible to it because of the amount of times they're either guarding smaller guys or trying to catch up to someone that's in the lane or whatever. So that's his only shortcoming. And once he can fix that, then as we say, the sky's the limit.
Well, I do think once we start featuring him on offense more, I think he's more likely to get the benefit of the doubt on the defensive end and not get those ticky-tack fouls. So I think it could play a major role in a lot of things.
Yep, no, I totally agree. So we're getting a little close on time, so we'll run through the last few guys on here. Kyle Anderson, gave him an A. Maybe could have downgraded this, and I admit it a little bit, maybe. But he's pretty much doing what we signed him to do. He's played tough defense on a couple guys like DeRozan, Kawhi, held them to pretty good numbers. He gets the ball to Jaren, so I freaking appreciate that. Something that a lot of the guys on the team are not doing. So that I may be impartial to him for that reason. Real quick thoughts, starting with you, Rich.
I don't know if I give Kyle an A. I don't know if I give him an A. But I think your first sentence, I wholeheartedly agree. Kyle is doing everything we signed him to do. I think as the year is going on, he's gotten more and more comfortable. This injury is comes at a terrible time. I feel for him. But taking on the top defensive assignment each night, contributing what he can. But I think for him to receive an A, for me, he's going to have to hit that shot. He's going to have to come up with something other than pump faking from the baseline or looking to pass and kick it out. But honestly, I do like Kyle. I don't feel about, the fan you spoke about earlier, bro, or Chief. He doesn't get on me like that. But yeah, I give Kyle a solid, I'll give him a B+.
Yep, I agree. I give him a B+ as well. What's weird to me is when he wasn't playing well is early on and we were winning, and now he's been playing well for a while now. It seems like, and
that's a thing.
Haven't been able to win shit.
The better he plays, the more likely we are to lose. Which I don't know what that. I don't know why. Yeah. That's definitely a thing. And you have to look. To me, I look at this not just how good the players play, but pursuant to his contract too. I mean, he's like a $7 or $8 million a year guy. That's a great deal for 4 years. Get all of his prime, 24 to 28. That's a fucking awesome deal for a guy's giving us all the things that he does defensively and the intangibles of all that he can do. So, I mean, great signing. You really can't hate on it.
And most importantly, him and Jaren look really good together, and they look like their pick and roll is really nice together. So they look like they enjoy playing together, and they can wreak havoc, defensively as well. So I'm all for Kyle Anderson. Hopefully he gets back on the court soon, so we can try to make a little playoff push here.
Yeah, 2 weeks is the prognosis so far.
That's a long time. There's a lot of games.
And of
Memphis Grizzlies PR,
yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
We heard that for Chandler Parsons for a year and a half. Okay. All right. Real quick, Caspi, a B. Mostly because that guy is really efficient. He doesn't get to play much, but when he's in there, he's shooting, a very high percentage. He impacts the game. He gets buckets. He rebounds. He looks like he's hustling. That's why I gave him a B. Slim, what do you think about Omri?
Yeah, we're about to get a big dose of Caspi here in these next 2 weeks with Kyle out, I believe. So that'll be the time when we can really give him a grade. But yeah, he's been fine. He's been good when he's in. So I'm cool to be.
All right, what do you think, Chief?
Yep. Retweet.
Retweets. Anything from Rich? Any opposition?
Retweet.
Yes.
Yeah. You get a lot of likes on that. Yeah, we're going to get a lot of likes.
That one's going viral.
Yeah.
Javon Carter, a B. Also looking at this one, probably a C or incomplete. Dang it. But starting at the top, Chief, what do you think about Carter and his, kind of the few games where he has been the main backup point guard for the Grizz?
I mean, he's fucking hooping down in South Haven. He's averaging 25 or something. And he's controlling the offense, shooting step back threes, just playing with such confidence and more offensive, chops than I thought he had at West Virginia. But in the NBA, when he's been called up, anytime he comes in, you could tell everyone sort of ups their game. He's that type of player where when he's on the court and you could tell he's hustling his ass off, it sort of seeps to everyone else. As Jaron would say, the litness transcends and everyone starts playing a little better. So, that's something that, you can't quantify in the box score. But it is an aggregate positive. Would like to see him hit open three there was a couple opportunities he had to kind of bring down the grindhouse where he was playing well, and then he got hit with an open three and he missed it. That's the shot that I think he takes that next step when he hits that shot.
Absolutely. Rich?
Yeah, I think Chief touched on it all. I think he definitely has everyone kind of step their game up. Like, he's that person, like, doesn't care who he's checking. Like, whether it's Chris Paul and James Harden or it's freaking
like Reggie Jackson.
Like Reggie Jackson or some shit.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't care. Like, he takes pride in his defense, and that transcends throughout, the team. But like Chief said, like, all he has to do is like be able to knock down that open shot. Because when the grindhouse gets behind you, they're gonna really get behind you. And he just has to, continually find that confidence. He's going back and forth between South Haven and the big club. But he'll get there. He'll get there. I think he's been solid so far for what's been asked of him.
All right, closing out with the other backup point guard, Shelvin Mack. So I gave him a B, mostly for the same reasons I gave Mark a B. Started off super hot, not as good in the second quarter of the season, directly correlated to the Grizzlies winning and losing also, including a couple coaches' decision, did not play. Slim, what do you think on Mac?
Man, do you know how bad we have been, bro? Like, we have been really bad because of him. So I can't give him a B. Like, D+, C-. He's teetering on the edge for me. Like,
sounds like you kicked him out of school.
Man, he had a couple of good games, but like that was very short-lived. That was a very short period of the season. Since then, we have been trash as hell. Like, we've lost 12 of the last 14. And things aren't looking good. So, and a lot of it, his defense is just, it's non-existent pretty much. Thankfully, that Spurs game, he got it turned around, because when he first checked in, Patty Mills or Bryn Forbes or one of them little guards was eating him up the first 3 possessions. And then he started hitting some shots and ended up having a really good game. But it's just too wishy-washy, man. As a backup point guard, you need somebody that's steady, that you can count on. And he hasn't been that. So, and that's what he was signed to do. So I got to give him, I'll go C- because of the early stretch.
Chief.
Yeah, I give him a C, just like I give Mark. They are kind of the same exact story, and of course held to different standards. Mark being kind of the franchise guy, and Mac being the backup. But yeah, it's been said.
Rich, any objection to the C? I think Shelvin's been bumped down from the B, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, like definitely going with the C- range. Shelvin, I think Shelvin is who he is. When he was signed, I don't think, I had these inklings of, he was going to be the greatest backup point guard in history. Like, yeah, he had a good stretch in the beginning, but I think Shelvin's kind of come back down to earth, as we all have seen. And, at some point in time, we got to figure out, what his role on the team is, because there are too many like frustrating runs and instances where it's just a lot of it is coming down on Shelvin. It's like, you got to step your game up, bro, or JB has to make a decision. So I'm very curious to see this new like off the ball lineup he's going to go through with two point guards playing, or Javon and Mike playing together, or Shelvin playing with Mike or Javon. So I'm excited to see what comes of that.
All right. Well, that rounds out the grades. For
Whoa.
What? Who?
Joakim Noah.
We talked about Noah. You want to talk more about Noah?
We didn't talk about him, fool.
We talked about him. We lumped him with Holiday. Okay, Slim, what you got on Noah? I gave him a C.
I don't got nothing. Rich want to say something.
Just coming back, man. Yeah.
Shit. Fuck. It's like a D, man. It's Joakim Noah, bro. He hasn't played since I was in middle school, so it doesn't even really matter. I'm glad to have you, Joakim. You're awesome.
Oh, way to make a stand there, guys. Way to go. Okay, so that wraps up that portion. Okay, no objections. Good. This week, Grizzlies have just like a completely brutal, murderous schedule. So starts off with the Rockets. Don't need to tell you very much about the Rockets. Harden scores 40 points every game, gets a triple-double.
Dude, he is unbelievable right now.
Playing phenomenal. He's a candidate for MVP. Well, 2 days later on Wednesday, the Grizzlies get to play the Bucks with Giannis. Also a MVP candidate. Somehow we beat them. last time. I'm trying to remember back to the good old days early in the season where we beat them, but I would. Yeah. Oh, that's not good enough. Well, then we got to go to Boston, play the Celtics on Friday. Obviously, we blew a huge lead to them earlier this season. And then the very next day, we got to go to Toronto and play the Raptors, who we also blew a huge lead to. So we play 3 of the East top 5 teams, and the Rockets. They're 6th right now, but at the rate they're playing, they could beat anyone at this point in the season. I don't see much reason to be optimistic. Chief, what do you think we go this week?
I mean, I think that if you're a betting man, then you're not going to spend any folding cash on anything but 0-4. Makes no sense to bet anything than that. But I'm going 1-3 because I'm a risk taker. I challenge the process, and I think that one of these teams might have one of those stinker games like the Spurs did. At some point, we'll catch them slipping, and they'll just have a stinker, and then we'll shoot a little bit better and maybe score 100 for once and win. I don't know which team that'll be, but there's no logical reason you would expect to beat any of these teams the way that they're all playing and the way that we are playing, especially given injury. I think we'll learn a lot about this team, though, with these 2 recent injuries, with Dylan being out and now Kyle being out. How do they respond? Do we have the energy? Do we have enough bodies to throw out there and win a game against a good team? I don't know. We'll know that. We'll know that after this week, though.
Yeah, 2 really key defensive guys who guard perimeter players pretty often. Ooh, that'll be tough.
I mean, who checks like Jason Tatum? Who checks Kawhi? Who checks Giannis? Who guards fucking Harden, dude? I mean, first of all, you can't guard him right now. Like, he's supernova. He's entered a whole echelon of scoring right now that we haven't seen maybe ever since like Wilt, which is kind of crazy. Like, what he's doing right now is insane. But yeah, that's what I got to say.
It'll be fun. You'll get to see a bunch of fun teams that will be playing in the postseason and vying for Eastern Conference final berth. And so that will be good. And we'll really get to see like what this Grizzlies team is made of. Can they fight back? Can they steal a couple? Especially you got 3 of them on the road. A lot of it's going to have to do with controlling pace and just you got to be freaking tough and body up some of these guys. That's your only hope, really. Slim, on the week, what's your prediction?
I think we beat Milwaukee again and go 1-3. I think they're just kind of a good matchup for us, and I think we'll take advantage of that. That's the one at home, right?
Yeah, on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think we'll win that one.
Rich?
I think I'll go 1-3 as well. I'm hoping we can sneak one in Boston. They've kind of got some internal discord going on right now, so hopefully that kind of weighs its head, and the Celtics kind of seemingly play down, and the Grizzlies are able to still win in the Garden.
Oh yeah, well, I think we could do that too. We might get 2 wins.
Oh, that'd be pretty grizz to lose to like Miami, Detroit, and all them, and then take 2 on the road.
Yep,
it could happen. All right, well, that comes to the end of the show for us tonight. Thank you guys all for joining us, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
Peace.
Peace.